Denny, your mastery. It is May 30th. And you know what? This is your hour. And I appreciate you being on. I'm here to make you sharper. I'm here to help you improve your skills. And the only way you can do that is you got to risk it a little bit. Well, one thing I do want to, for those people who are watching for the first time, I do this every Monday. Just go to dennysmastery.com. This is totally free. And what we practice, you guys, is question-based, listening, enhanced conversations. A lot of people talk about, they send me can you share with me some scripts? Well, we have some things that will help you. However, what I teach is really, when you think about it, what to say without having to memorize the exact words. So we want you to internalize the logic behind the conversation. And so it comes with practice. Who wants to be first? One thing I want to share with you guys, I'll just wait a few minutes. I know several of you have sent me the affirmative that you're going to be on my initial beta group of coaching. And I think that I have maybe 10, that if 11, and I have room for maybe 1 or 2 more to do 3 groups. And if you have an interest in doing that, it starts June 9th. It's, if you get a group of 4, it's $50 a week. You pay for the month, $200, and we go in. And I'm thinking about the goal of this, and I'm gonna drill hard on a lot of things we talk about, but I'm gonna drill harder on you understanding concepts, what I call axioms. Like market value is not known until you expose it. Can you have a half a dozen conversations around that? We don't list the property, we list property owners. Can you have conversations around that? The other one is marketing does not sell houses, positioning does. Can you have conversations around that? And so I want you to understand the basics. We have a bunch of free stuff. If you haven't asked for it already, you can just get out of the way, zoom in, take a picture of that. There is probably a link, but I don't know what it is. And you a lot of the slides we talk about totally free. You just have to put your name in and register. So I'll leave that up a second. And if you haven't already, go to my YouTube channel, The Master of Real Estate. I've got 200 or 300 videos, and you can really bone up on in-depth conversation. So I am all yours. Who wants to get better first? I want you to be an agent, and you might have something you would like to discuss or role play. Maybe it was an appointment you were on and you kind of muffed it, or maybe it's an appointment you have coming up that you want to make sure you nail it. So who is first? And I see that right now, if you can, let me see if I can't let people in and watch the check. And yeah. What time is the, great question. If you email me, I'll let you know. I've got a couple of times picked out. It's an hour long. I think I've got 2 to 3, 3:30 to 4 on Mondays. I've got one, I think 2:30 to 3:30 on Tuesday. So it'll be for 4 weeks. We'll see how it goes. There's no obligation to continue it after the first, but maybe you will. So who else? Seller wants an opinion on my price, medium, hard. Jesse, good to see you up right away. What I teach, and this is going to be one of the canons, is the better way. So this is your first time on here, or if you're a newer agent, there's other ways people teach how to do it. There's more than one way to do it. I teach what I call the better way. 40 years of experience doing this. I think it's the best way. So Jesse, you are going to be the agent. And so remember, we practice question-based conversations. And the better way is that, here's the other axiom: top market value is not known until you expose it to the market. So when you go in and talk about pricing or positioning with a seller, we only know 3 things: past, present, and trends. Are you ready, Jesse? You're a regular, so I'm gonna give you some fastballs.
Okay. Well, after we've gone through everything today, Denny, are you ready to put me to work?
Well, it was a good presentation. I've talked to 3 people, and all of you are about the same, with the exception of value. You know, I'm not going to give my house away. I'm looking for the best possible price that I can get for my house. And you were a little bit weak there, Jess.
Okay. Some week on the value. If we can agree upon a value, would I be the guy for the job to list the house?
Okay, so I don't have the timer going here. I'm gonna coach through this. So Jesse, just maintain your train of thought. Now, what he did there was a lot of practice. That is a master move. Number one, why go into a deep discussion about something if they're not going to work with you, particularly about position? Notice I say position, it's not pricing, it's positioning. There are strategic positions, right? So if you're in the habit of going ahead and spilling all your beans, particularly if you're an experienced agent, telling them everything you think about the market, they may think they can take that information and give it to their nieces, brothers, golf pros, ex-wives, boyfriends, lawn care company, and can get the job done. It's not true, but they can think they can do that. Positioning, Breckenridge, welcome back. Positioning is one of our value propositions. So he closed me. That's part of the better way. Well, yeah, Jess, I think we'd be okay. I think we could do some business if we can agree on what my house will bring in this market.
Okay. So what's the number that you're thinking?
Well, give me that range of value. What did you say a minute ago? What did you say it was?
Between 650 to 670 is what the market's trends are saying.
Well, all right. So you're saying 650, 670. I mean, the other people gave me another number, and I want you to tell me what you think. What's the best you can do? What is the best you can do for me? Now, I'm just going to let you know right now that other agents are giving me more attractive numbers.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you asking me that, and I've been doing this 11 years, and I appreciate that you value my perspective. May I be honest with you about my opinion?
So I'm going to pause just for a second. I was raised by my grandmother, and she always used the term, I'm going to what you want to get your mouth washed out with soap. How many people have heard that before? So when you say, let me be honest with you, that just go ahead and grab your toothbrush and put a little ivory soap on it and then brush your teeth. Why do we not use that in mastery?
Because then they may think that you weren't being honest the whole time.
Right. See, in mastery, what we attempt to do is get to the essence of the words we use. And I know it is filler, it's a cliche, but I learned a long time ago not to use it. And so it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard. I also learned a long time ago from Tommy Hopkins that we never call the contract. We call it the agreement. And we never say, hey, do you want to sign the contract? Oh, well, nailed on the chalkboard. Do you want to okay, authorize, or approve? Why? Because we're taught never to sign anything without what first? Let a lawyer look at it, right? So words matter. So you get that, Jesse?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to drop that and
Okay.
keep going.
Yep.
Go back to that point.
I appreciate you wanting to know my opinion and that you value that. So there's really only one opinion that matters for our positioning. May I explain?
You can explain.
Okay. So let's just say you want 10 million for the house, and I say it'll actually sell for 5 million. But when we go on the market says no to that. That really, the market's opinion is really the only opinion that matters. So if we list it at my price and it doesn't get that, then what?
All right. Now, coaching moment. When it comes to you, I know you're giving me a story, but again, I'm pretending like I've heard it for the first time. I'm a little confused. I mean, you use something wild, 10 million, 5 million. I'm looking at the values at 650, 750. Yeah, I'll hire you right away if you give me $5 million. But here's the thing I don't want you to get in the habit of doing when you say my price, even in your story. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What we want to do is keep our fingerprints off. Another way of saying it, and I know you're going down to give me an analogy. So I'll set you up again. What is the most, you're showing me what other homes have sold, but my home is better. You walked through my home and told me how much you love my bird nest. And that is like pitter patter to me and my wife. So
Okay.
what can you bring? I mean, you've got a fabulous marketing program. You sold homes here. What can you deliver for me?
Yes, I appreciate you asking. So honestly, Denny, we don't know how much any property is going to get until we expose it to the market. And the market will speak to us once we go on the market after our initial positioning in one of three ways. May I explain those?
No.
No. Okay.
All right, so let's reverse roles just for a moment. What he's referring to, guys, how many people remember the one of three things? In my opinion, this is one of the sheets you use once you have a knuckle bump, but you can use it ahead of time. So I want you to reverse roles on me now, and you ask me the question, what can I bring? Right?
Yeah, what can I bring?
You're asking me now. I'm the agent, you're the seller.
Okay, what can you bring, Denny? I mean, we want to sell for top dollar.
All right, so let me ask you, so is there any disagreement? We went over the homes that have sold and the actives on the market, and homes similar in this area, Tanglewood, sold between 650 and 670. Is there any disagreement on that?
No, that looks pretty clear.
Okay, now you also mentioned to me that the other agent said they could sell it for more money. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Now I'm curious. Now I'm going to ask you a question, but you can answer. What did they say? What did they document it could be sold for?
They were saying around 7 to 750.
Now, all right. Now I was lucky because he answered that. I have been on many listing appointments where they do not answer that. Well, I'm not, they're thinking they're sharing their cards. So, all right, so let me just reverse it right now. You're going back as the agent as we put the last couple minutes on this role play. If I said, well, the other agents are telling me 7 to 750, you're the agent now, Jess, what do you say?
Are they willing to buy it at that price?
No, this is the better way.
I'm
This is
sorry.
the better way. You say, okay, then are you suggesting, because you want to work with me, that if we agreed to begin there between 7 and 750, are you going to hire me?
Okay. Are you saying that if we agree to initially position there, are you going to hire me?
Yes. The
Okay.
better way is if you can get them to get a number. And again, within reason, I mean, if they wanted 7 million, maybe not. The question is, write this down, write this word down, trial close. Are you saying then that if we agree to initially position in that range, 7 to 750, that you're ready to move forward? Now, let me just pause for a second, write that down. That is called a trial close. If they say no, is there any reason to carry on with that conversation?
Not really. Maybe some clarity.
For example, let me be corny. I'm always corny on every call because I'm just that way. I asked my wife to marry me. She says, well, I don't like the way you spend all Saturday watching TV, sports. Said, other than that, so if I can solve that issue with you, would you be ready to marry me? If she says no, what have you learned? It's not just my Saturday sports. So why would I try to convince her that I will not watch Saturday sports anymore? Are you getting my drift?
You got to pull out the other objections.
You had better find out what else is the issue. Deciding on where to strategically, notice these words, deciding on where you want to strategically position this listing is your expertise. That is the cherry on top after they made the agreement. Now they might say, okay, so I'm going to go to you, Maria. Maria, I tell you what, that I have you over here because you are the expert. Same role player. You're the expert. I talked to two other people and they gave me numbers that I like better. So you tell me, because you're the professional, not me, what do you think you can sell it for?
Danny, would you agree it doesn't matter what I say and it doesn't matter what you want because the market will speak and we will listen.
Okay.
So-
Answer that. Wait, hang on. That is the way. This is what we're going to do in mastery. I want you to be able to have more than one way to answer it. All right. So that's one way. Answer it differently.
If we agree to initially position it at 700, are you willing to move forward with me?
Is that what you're saying you can sell it at?
It doesn't, Danny, let's say we say it's 700, the market will respond in one of three ways. Can I share with you?
No. No, I don't want you to go into the one of three ways yet. Because I'm pressing you on a number. Give me a number, Maria. Where should I list this home?
Where do you think we should list the home, Danny?
That's why you're here. The other two agents had no problems telling me where they would list it. Why are you giving me all this grief?
Danny, I have past sales and I have what's current on the market right now. Based on what I've shared with you today, where would you feel comfortable placing your home at?
I understand that's what you can say. You must take that Denny Grimes class. I understand, but these other people gave me a price. Why won't you give me a price?
Because there's always a lightning strike, right? If I told you it could be this number and then you get more, is it possible?
All right, so I'm going to stop. You guys talk to me a little bit. No role play, just talk to me. Does that not happen on a listing appointment? Aren't they sometimes pressing you for a number?
Yes.
How long can you outlast them?
I can guarantee you that no one can guarantee you a certain number.
All right, so somebody get super tough with me. I feel like I'm feeling froggy today. All right, I want a seller that's pressing me on that.
I want a number, Danny.
Okay, what number would you like?
I want 750. Do you think we can get 750?
That's not what, no, okay, well, now you're easy. Now it's easy. Jesse, what do you say? If they give you a number, what's the next line automatically? Like, don't pass go, collect $200. What's the next line?
If we initially position for 750, am I your guy?
There you go. It's trial close. But I don't want you to you're pressing me for a number. You're not going to give it to me.
Okay.
So you said going back to Maria, you're pressing me for a number. All right. So what number do you want me to give you?
750.
Oh, you can't say that. I don't. You're the seller. I mean, you're the seller. You're trying to get a number out of me, but you can't give me a number. So you said give me a number. I'm asking you, what number do you want me to give you?
What number do you think the home will sell?
Ah, okay. See, all right. So let me ask you. Do you agree with what I showed you? I'm going to go back. Remember, you can always go to what you know. Here's the things you know: past, present, what is sold, actives, and the market trends. And if you haven't asked the question on market trends yet, so all right, Maria, really fast. As a seller, you're selling in the Tanglewood area. Do you think the market's working in your favor or working against you?
It's working in my favor.
Okay, so the past sales we looked at are between 650 and 670, and maybe the next one might be a little bit higher. That's the trend, correct?
Right.
So I understand. Listen, put it back on them. Exactly what are you asking me?
I don't agree with your comps, Danny, because I have 3 bird basses and one of them is gold plated and everyone else has only 2. So my home is going to be worth more than what you're showing me.
Well, first of all, I'm only showing you neighborhood range, so you don't agree with the 650, 670, right?
No, I don't, because my house is better.
Now watch this. How many times can you ask the same question a little bit different? She's pushing me for a number. I will not give her a number. I don't care how many times she pushes me. All right, so your house is better than 650, 670. Where do you
Yes.
think it should be?
Well, I'm asking you, Danny. Everyone else on this graph has 2 bird basses and I have 3. How much more is an additional bird bass would add to my house?
All right, you said you talked to a couple other agents. What numbers did they come up with?
They said it's extra 30,000.
An extra 30,000. Extra 30,000 on the 650 or extra 30,000 on the 670?
Well, they agreed that it should be worth more. So it's extra 30,000 on top of 670.
Watch this, guys. I've never said this on a role play before, but that was going through my mind. Well, you've interviewed 3 people and you like my program the best, if we can agree on a number, right?
Yes.
So then you looked at their numbers and I'm showing you the market range. What number did you like best? Now that is another way. What am I doing? I'm coming right back to, she's trying to get me to give her a future outcome. Do you understand why I can't do it? When you give a number, there's a higher probability that number one, that you're wrong, or they'll find another agent that would give them a higher number. That's why the better way says you do not give a number. All right, so that's one way. Here's another way, and we can get on to something else if you want to, but I don't want you to lose. This is how you don't leave money on the table with a listing. All right, let me ask this. She will not give me a number. I have done this. Let's play a game, Maria. Okay?
Okay.
First of all, if we agree on an asking price, are we going to do business together?
Yes.
Okay, let's play a game. The game is called Pick a Number. You pick a number, I pick a number. You pick a number, I pick a number. So you get to pick the first number. What number do you pick?
I want you to pick the first number.
Okay. Can I ask a question first?
Yes.
If we don't know where the top market value is, and we don't, and this is where I have my little drawing up here. I don't want to make all the noises. I have a drawing for it. In fact, just a minute. This is my listing presentation. Dollars, top market value. If we don't know where top market value is, we have a choice to go and pick up an aggressive number in case, and if we're not right, you can always reposition, or we can pick up a number that's lower and maybe we'll have multiple offers, maybe it'll get bid up, or maybe we'll leave money on the table, point A or point B. Which strategy would you like us to use?
I don't want to leave any money on the table. So A.
All right, A, okay. So in your mind, you think A is above 670?
Yes.
Do you think A is above 700?
What do you think?
Well, okay. So now again, this is great. I'm not done. I can outlast her. All right. So can we? All right. So let's just set this aside. Let me just ask you a question. You're asking me for a number for a future event, correct?
Yes.
So when these other agents came up with a number, did both of them have a 7 in front of it?
They do.
Okay. What was the range of the two numbers?
It was 700 to 710.
Okay. Now, I understand they said that. Now, this is one I want you to remember. This is very strong. What did they show you that would justify it? Because we looked at the homes that have sold without bird baths. 650, 670. What did they show you that would justify that number?
They showed me their past sales and they have a 97% list to close price.
Oh, boy. Now, if you want to talk about sales price to list price ratio, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to mix that up in this one because that's a bunch of BS, if you ask me. We can pull that apart. But stay with this. You can ask them what they showed them. All right. So they said 7 to 710. Which number did you like the best? 7 or 710?
710, of course.
Would you consider 710 to be point A?
Yes.
What did I just do?
Made
I mean,
the price.
you may be bored stiffless. But what did I just get her to do? She identified what?
The number.
You gave her a price.
Jesse, then what is the next statement?
So if we initially position the property at 710, am I your guy?
All right, I'm gonna stop. You guys are looking at me like, okay, or you know, I've got 4 heads. No comments?
What are those other numbers on your drawing there? What, I guess my comment is you played the game to get her number out.
These are past sales on a different example, so that's, so, but if she would have said a number, I'll let her go first. And she did a boomerang on me, she wanted me to go first, so I wasn't gonna go with a 6, because I know she wanted a 7. I wasn't gonna go with a 7 because I'm putting my fingerprints on it, I wanted her to go first. I guessed that she would have said 7. All right, so she picked 7. That means we're gonna list in a 700,000 pond. Then she would have said, all right, then it's your turn. I'll tell you what. Why don't you pick the next one too? 3. All right, my turn. I'll pick 5. So then we agree at 735. You see what I'm doing? There's no way on God's green earth they will ever get a number out of me. The only way you can be right, you guys, if there's somebody out there thumping their chest that you know, oh, I don't, Denny's full of crap. Every one of my listings sell where I say they're going to sell. Then you're listing them too low. The only way you can be right all of the time is you list them too low. So I feel like I'm preaching. So let's get some more talking going on here because I'm not really sure you're buying into this.
Denny, what if I told you the other agents that gave me a number that is over 700,000? That's because of their experience in real estate. They've been in real estate for 20 years and they know what an addition of the bird bath costs and adds value to the home.
All right. What? So other than Jesse and Maria, who would like to answer that question?
Those other agents are telling you buy your listing because they are giving you the price that you want, and they are gonna have the advantage to get in contact with little people around and get 3 or more listings, and they don't care if you sell your property or not.
But that's a statement. We don't make statements, we ask questions.
Okay.
Scott, you got something? Breckenridge, you got something? Bev, you got something? Paulina?
I would say, again, if we initially position, do you believe that 30,000, let's say, that they told you this amount, 30,000, would add, that's how much the addition costs? And if they agree, then I would say, okay, if we initially position at this price. No?
But the other agents have more experience.
Oh,
Let me give you a hint. Now, if we're gonna play, that could come up. But in the role play we were playing, what did she already say she wanted to do? She talked to 3 people. She wants to work with me. I said, then if we can agree on price, this is Jesse's question. If we can agree on the positioning, are we gonna do business? Yes. Where was the experience then? Most likely, if the seller liked the other agents better on experience, you think it might have come up. Now, this isn't foolproof. That still may come up. Now, there's a lot been written, and I've heard it all. For example, you know, the other agents have more experience. They think bird bath, you know, they're a bird bath collector too. And so this is a Super Mac Daddy bird bath that basically has a shower and jacuzzi for the birds. And therefore your house is worth $30,000 more. Now they may want to go with the other agent. Alberto, you might be right. How many of you guys have seen or experienced another agent trying to quote buy the seller's business by giving them a higher number? And one of the workarounds that's out there, I mean, I've used it before, but it's not what I prefer to do. I don't use it anymore. Well, I'll tell you what, and they're going to go that direction. Can I give you some advice? Sure. When they come and ask for, now I'm not talking about me and pricing. I'm talking about them. I'm going to use price. When they come in and ask for a price reduction, you should put it in the contract that you get to terminate the listing. How does that sound? Because what they're doing is they're promising a future outcome in order to get your business, thinking they can lower your price later. Now that has been used. That's been around since Noah, and you can use that. I just think there's a better way. What's next, you guys? What do you want to talk about next? Would you like to talk about sales price to list price?
Well, what is that better way? Because I mean, I remember that old Diana Cuscosa script, like, you know, contract, cancel the contract. Is it asking a question?
Well, okay, so all right, so let's say you're in an interview, and well, it probably won't happen with me, but you don't want to wait 40 years to do it. I mean, so you've got 3 years or 4 years or whatever you got, 2 years. The other agent has more experience. Who would like, I'm the seller and you're interviewing with me and you don't have a bazillion years. And I say, well, the other people have more experience. Who would like to handle that?
What do you define by experience?
Well, they've been in real estate. I think what they say, honey, about 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm. And out of the 7 years, how many transactions have they done?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. On average, can I share some statistics with you, Denny?
Are you asking if you can?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sure.
On last year, on average, an agent sells 1.66 homes a year.
Stop. Now, all right. Anybody know what I'm going to say next?
How many have you sold?
No, I mean, first of all, you're making a statement. How could you make it a question? This is how we make it interactive. Helena, let me ask you a question. How many homes do you think the average agent sells in a year? A month?
Well,
I don't know.
A month, probably 2 or 1.
I don't know what your number was. Were you saying a month or a year?
No, a year. It was 1.6.
All right. How many homes do you think the average agent sells in a year, Helena?
12.
That's less than that. Would you be surprised it's less than 2?
How would they make a living then?
Great question. Now, guys, look at me. I know there's some engineer types out there that you probably generate random numbers just for kicks and giggles, right? You like those stupid puzzles where you have to make all 9 squares add up to something. Do you think less than 2 is a little bit more palatable than 1.66?
Yeah,
Now, you might like to eat 1.66 for breakfast because that's what you like. You like numbers. Most people do not. When you go like that, and I'm, Polina, I'm, know I love you. Just less than 2 is enough.
is that
Alright.
the way you would go, or would you take a different route?
Say it again.
Is that the way you would go, or would you take a different route to the objection of experience?
So all right, so I'm the agent. You said they had more experience. Is that what you said, Polina?
Correct.
Okay, you asked the right question. How do you measure experience?
Well, this agent said that her mom was in the business and she gets all of that experience from her mom, so she must be good.
Okay, so how long has the girl been in business?
Well, I think her mom was for 40, and then out of those, she joined her. So I think she was about 10 years now in business.
So she's been doing it 10 years, right?
Yes.
Now, you said you talked to certain people. Now, other than experience, what criteria are you going to use to pick your agent? What you want to do? Experience is only one thing. Now, today we talked about on Recon. This is National Creative Day. How could you use an analogy when it comes to experience? Now, first of all, if somebody's got 10 years experience in real estate, what kind of questions, and let's just have the questions. I want to hear from you guys. What are some questions you could get? You don't want to assume anything. So what questions would you ask to flush that out?
How many transactions do they sell per year, or have they sold in their entire?
One question at a time. How many transactions has he done? All right. That's a good question, but it's pretty general. What else could you ask?
Do you think that the market changes over time?
Okay, how does that tie into experience, Scott?
Well, it's kind of like the market is different. Every market is different. It goes up, it goes down. There's sometimes a seller's market, there's sometimes a buyer's market.
All right, so now you're here. Now, this is another, I didn't think about it. Where was the experience? It may not have been in this geographic area, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else could you ask?
Do we isolate, by the way?
Well, let's just assume we did.
Okay.
Fair question. This is good practice. The other agent, the mom's been in it forever. She's got at least 10 years, experience with her mom. Now you guys are assuming some things you shouldn't assume. What are you assuming?
That her mom's a good agent.
That could be one thing. What else are you assuming? That she's working full time. She could be a nurse and working she has had a license 10 years. You're assuming the daughter works with the mother in the same geographic area. So can you see why? Don't take things at face value. Now, again, you're right. We should have to isolate, but let's just assume we did. All right. So are you saying then that you're going to hire the agent with the most experience, Polina? Is that it?
Yes.
Are you hiring the daughter or the mother?
The daughter.
And she has 10 years.
Correct.
Do you know if she's a full-time agent or not?
I didn't ask her that, but I assume full-time since her mother was in the business, so she went the same route. And she's in her 30s. I would assume so.
So what if you found out has a real estate license 10 years, but hasn't sold a home in 3 years? Is then experience the number one thing you're going to look for?
No, but she showed me a couple of recent sales that she did. And the list price, the close price was 99%.
Oh, there you go again. Why are you guys stuck on that?
How do you compete against?
It's not list to close. It's sales price to list price.
Yes. Mhm.
You guys, that second time, you know why that's, BS?
Well, it doesn't take into consideration the original positioning.
That's one. Slow down in case they're playing Candy Crush. Say it again.
It doesn't take an original list price to sales price ratio.
So therefore, if their original list price, and their sales price to list price ratio is 83%, because they started high and went low. You see what I'm saying? Now, with that, if somebody had a 90% sales price to list price and somebody had a 98% sales price to list price, which one is better?
98.
The one
More
with the,
accurate. The higher, the more accurate.
So I'm gonna stop a second now. Again, I'm purposely, because we're in mastery, I'm going deeper in discussion. I have a whole hour. We have an hour, now 30 minutes. Would you rather just do the role play and keep it surface, or do you like the deeper conversations? Put it in the chat. Because I feel like maybe you feel like you've come to a movie and all you're seeing is, somebody giving you a documentary on the love life of bees. Okay. So let's say that, all right, so now you are the seller, you have to decide, and your criteria, because somebody told you, is, I know people say list price to sales price, but when you do the math, that's not right. It's sales price to list price. Do the division. You've got 3 agents. One is at 95, one is at 99, and the other is at 102. Which is the best agent?
99, because they project correctly. The 102 is a sandbagger, right? They list low to get activity, create the auction atmosphere, and that's what we're doing up in the Northeast. We're pricing it low, and everyone's coming in 50 or 100 over. 99 is pretty accurate, and 95, they're the worst, or the least experienced.
So let's role play that, Scott. You want to do a role play? Let's do a role play.
Okay, so Denny, what is it about experience? Oh, Denny, do you understand what sales price to list price is?
I read up on it. I asked Chat GPT, and they said that's a good metric.
Okay, well, as you do understand, list price is what the agent and you agree to list the home for. Is that correct?
Okay, yeah.
All right, and the sales price is what the house eventually closes for, meaning what the seller ends up realizing on the sale of their house. Now, if somebody comes in and they say to you, well, my listings, they could say we have 3 scenarios. One is the agent comes in and says, I have a 95% sales price to list price. Do you think that's a good good ratio? Or you think that agent's a good agent? They did well for their.
I mean, this is kind of new to me. It's kind of like cap rate in commercial, but the way I read it, the other agent came in. I mean, one agent was 95, the other agent was 102.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the agent that can get 102, they said they can get me, because the average is like 96 or 97, so they can get me 4% more. See, that's how agents use that, you guys. They can get me 4% more than the average agent because their sales price to list price ratio is 102.
But it's, the list, just understand the list price can be anywhere. It can be what you really think the home's going to sell for. It can be more than what you think the home's going to be sell for, or less. Now, do you think that if I price something and put it on sale and say, I think that house is worth $1 million, but I want to list it at 900,000. So people are aware of the market, right? Buyers are aware of the market. They're looking at all the houses. They see houses that are similar to yours and they're all priced at $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, and yours is 900,000, but it's pretty much equal. Which house are they going to go for? Which house they want to see?
900.
Yeah, the bargain. And if one person thinks that way, odds are other buyers in the market are going to feel that way as well, correct?
Hang on to that thought. What Scott said there is exactly right. That's why you never go boo-hoo if a buyer backs out. Because if you have one buyer and it's a rational sale, not someone who wanted to live next to their daughter and their new grandbaby. If it's a rational sale, if someone wanted that house, say it again, Scott.
If they want that house, if one person wants that house, there's going to be other buyers that want that house.
Yeah, see that is an axiom right there. Keep going. Yeah,
And-
they're gonna want the 900, right? They're gonna
That's
buy.
right. There's going to be multiple bids because it's a bargain. It's on sale. People are going to want it, and you're going to the agent will end up selling it for 950 or 975 or even $1 million, and therefore his sales price to list price is going to be over 100%. So it's a canard. It's a red herring. It's a trick. Not a trick. It's a tactic in our strategy to get you as much money as we can for the property.
So all right, let me ask you guys this, and it's a complicated thing. I'm not really sure you did it super clear, but you understand it. All right, so how about if you ask a seller, and then it's kind of rare. I don't think sellers are going to use this much, but I want you, if you're going to use it, I want you to know what it means and doesn't mean. If you have a sales price to list price ratio greater than the market, that does not mean you net the sellers more money. Are you okay with that? It's used all the time. I should say it does not. No, I'm going to say it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean you net the sellers more. And here's something else. I believe a great listing agent can net the sellers more incrementally than the average market. And why? What skills do we have? What skills do we want to make sure the sellers know that we have? And what skills do we want to hone so we can get the upper range of the upper range? What skills, you guys?
Negotiation.
Negotiations.
Negotiation is number one. And probably market knowledge would be number two for strategic positioning. So if someone with a 95% sales price to list price ratio sells the house at $1 million, another agent with 102% sales price to list price ratio sells the house at $1 million, who's the better agent? The higher the sales price to list price ratio is generally means they don't list it. For example, going back to our role play, they will have conversations with sellers to make sure they pick point B, not point A. You see, many times in an upward moving market, we saw this during COVID, right? We would take a number that might be higher. And if we're wrong, we can come down as long as the market's not moving away from us. We would sell it for less than our original listing price. So our sales price to list price would be lower, yet the seller sold it for more money. I won't spend any more time on that, but I just want to let you know that if you're going to use that number, I want you to understand what it really means.
Denny, I've just got a light bulb. Is it that we have to predict it's trend? So we have to predict. So because right now I'm just dealing in an upward moving market because I'm living in that. I've never lived through a down market.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Market hasn't been down in 4
A lot
years.
of fun.
So no, well, you know, it's dearth of listings. But the point being is that you have to prepare for the trend. And if it's in an upward sloping market, price it under, because you're going to hit it more. And if you're going in a downward market, you've got to prepare for that trend as well.
Well, sure, but what if the seller doesn't want to list it below? We're in that. Where are you, Scott?
New Jersey.
Yeah,
Bergen
you're
County.
probably the best market in the country. I'm in Florida. And
Right.
we have downward pressure on prices. So what do you do if you have a seller? That's what we're having right now. I've got $500,000 of listed property of GCI sitting out there, and two of the best agents in the state, and we have our hands full getting sellers into reality on numbers. I did it with a video last week. If you want it, I'll send it to you. They're nothing. I'm not probably post it, but I'm attempting to get out there and do some videos that are more to my client base, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did a video today, and this is a misnomer that a lot of sellers and some agents think that Florida is seasonal, and if you don't sell it in the first, like before the snowbirds go back home, which they go back home in April, then the market really drops off. So my 1 minute video today was on this, guys. I'm talking to the people that in this market that are selling homes, and I've got in a whiteboard, I've got really crude little pie charts. And hey, look, somebody asked me the question the other day. It's like, now that the season's over, do we have any hope of selling our houses? And I say, absolutely. And I go through it's 54% of the homes sell in the first half of the year, and then 46% sell in the second half. So it's almost equal. And this is how I end it. It doesn't so much matter when in the calendar you're selling, it matters your position of when you're selling. See, I'm going back to that. So negotiation is is one of our skills. The other is this. I want to put you guys in a buyer conversation right now. We got a few more minutes. I want you to put you in a buyer conversation, and I want to be the buyer, and I want you to talk to me. How will you counsel me on making an offer or buying a house that is new on the market? Somebody that hasn't participated yet, step in. Come on, step in and be the agent, because the most difficult time to advise a buyer is when they have been looking, or when you decide to work with them and a new listing hits the market. Who wants to do it?
Can I go, Denny?
Well, hang on, Polina. I know you guys are, you're always, in the bullpen, ready to step in. Anybody else? Man, am I that scary? All right, Polina, go.
So Denny, do you like this home?
Yeah, I think it works.
And how much is it listed for?
What'd you say it was? It was like 475?
475. So Denny, can I be personal with you?
Okay.
First of all, how much would you like to put an offer on this home? How much would you like to buy it for?
Well, I mean, I haven't bought a house in a couple of years, and of course my dad always said never pay full price on anything. So what do you think we should offer?
Well, what would you be comfortable with? Because I'm not going to be the one paying for this home. You're going to be the one paying for it.
Well, it's 475, and I'd be comfortable like half that number. Well, okay, now I gave her a smart aleck answer. You know why? Because she used the C word. I don't know that buying a house is ever comfortable, particularly in a competitive market. So you asked me what I'd be comfortable with. That would make me comfortable. Ask it a better way.
If you knew that someone bought the home tomorrow at 475, would you be okay losing the home?
Well, that's what I'm asking. What should I offer? It's listed at 475.
Well, if you knew that someone would put an offer at 475 and you did not have the opportunity to buy it anymore, would you be upset?
That might be.
Would you be okay with that?
It might not be.
So knowing that someone could potentially buy it at 475, how much would you like to offer?
That's what I'm asking you. Now, here again. And we'll kind of fast forward this. You guys, listen, you're not going to hear this from a lot of different people, and it just the way I roll. It's in my book. You guys, I have a call with my co-author. Here it is. You want more information? There you go. Trying to get it out, manuscript out by July. Working with a seller and positioning, keeping your fingerprints off, and working with the buyer, keeping your fingerprints off what they should offer is the same. Are you getting that? Because if you tell a seller what it's going to sell for and you're wrong, they'll never forget it. If you give the buyer advice on what they should offer and they lose the house, there's a very good chance they're going to blame you. And if they blame you enough, they'll fire you. So there is a way to do it and be totally professional. I know you're hitting around it, Polina. You're hitting around it. So let's just reverse the roles and I'll give you the Reader's Digest version and tell me what you think on this, you guys. So Polina, first of all, I mentioned, Polina, this home just hit the market, correct?
Correct.
Now, when I made the appointment, I don't really know, and I don't even know if we know if it's not our listing. I don't know if we really know if there's other showings, but there could be other appointments and people driving up. I would just say the probability this home just hit the market is there, and you like it. And let me ask you, if you can work it out, is this the home you want to own?
Yes, it's one of them, but the one across the street, I think it looks similar, but I like the location of this one more. Yeah.
So my question is, it just is new on the market now. What do you want? So notice I won't say offer. You want to own this home. What are you willing to commit to number-wise in order to own it?
Well, how low
Pizza
do you think they will accept?
Well, the only thing I think I know is that they were willing to accept 475 when they listed it. I don't know for sure that A, it's available, or B, they're still open to that number. So what number? However, let me be clear. This is the most dangerous, stressful time for you to make a decision. Because this is a brand new property on the market. And if we were looking at a home that's been on the market 2 months, we've learned some things, but we don't know how the market's going to react to this. So most likely, Polina, we're going to have one shot at getting this home. It's not going to be, most likely, it's not going to be a negotiation back and forth. Does that make sense?
Yes, but see, I don't want to overpay for a home in this market. And as I've noticed in the neighborhood, at 475 right now, homes are sitting for a month or two. So I don't want to overpay when I can like get the other one for much less.
Okay, so then based on this home right now, what's the most you're willing to pay, knowing that we may only get one shot at it?
Well, what if, in your experience, what do you think is a good number to be still competitive?
Look at that. Let's fix that.
Somebody's
be
got to
the-
mute themselves.
Kevin?
What's a good number? What's a good number? So you want my advice, right?
Yes.
It's for my fuck.
Can somebody see where that's?
It's very peaceful.
Kevin, mute yourself.
Kevin, mute yourself, buddy. Thank you. You want my advice? Here's my advice. Give it your best shot right away. What is the most you're willing to invest to own this home?
What if we come in at 275 and then during the inspection we ask for 20,000 in concessions? Do you think we can do that? Can you make it happen?
I think you meant 475.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
So you can do anything you want. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, I want to come in at 475, but we want to ask in 20,000 or so in concessions because the most I want to pay for it is 255.
Why do you keep saying 250?
Oh, I mean, it's 455.
Okay, so, all right, so this is what Polina was trying to do a moment ago. So let's forget about the concession. I'm not even gonna deal with that right now. So let's say you went in at 475, which is asking price. And we find out tomorrow that somebody else came in and bought it. How will you feel?
Well, if they offered 20,000 more, then I wouldn't pay that much for this home.
Well, we don't know what they paid for, but somebody else liked it more than you and had a better offer. How would you feel?
Well, I want to own this home, but not for more than the asking price.
So if you found out in 60 days when it closed that somebody paid 476 for it instead of 475, how would you feel?
I would want to buy it for 476 then, if I knew that that was the case.
You guys, you have to do it incrementally. Because if she would pay 476, my advice to her was you're gonna have to put your best foot forward. What's the most you're willing to invest to own it? So what you're
Well,
saying then that 475 wasn't your top dollar, was it?
No. Well, we're talking about $1,000. It doesn't
Okay.
make big of a difference.
You guys, have you lost houses over $1,000 before game? Yes. So I know we're top of the hour, and there's a question there about what they're willing to pay, and that's another discussion. I mean, what their monthly. I would not get into the monthly right now. I mean, I would do that at some point in time, but right now, let's just assume it's a cash purchase. The bottom line on this, and we can work on it more, but one of the fundamentals that I want to help you with as we go through our conversational coaching and the principles that I'm teaching in this book is our best advice is advising them of their options, but not telling them exactly what they should do, because the doctor won't tell you get the operation. He'll advise you, here's the pros, there's the cons, here's the wins, here's the side effects, whatever, but it's your decision. That's what a professional does. Does that make sense? So that anybody here, and I know we spent some time and we didn't do a lot of role play. Did you learn anything today? Who would be willing to share maybe something you wrote down, something, but I call a V8 moment that you learned today?
The trial close. The
Say that
trial
again.
close. The trial close.
Trial close. All right. What else, you guys?
It's not 1.6, it's less than 2.
Yes. What else?
Keep the finger off of the price.
Yes.
Mm,
Is it
always,
worth-
oh,
Go ahead. Yeah.
always have the seller or the buyer decide the final price. Thank you.
Do you guys get value out of this?
Yes.
100%. 200%.
I do.
I mean, I've been doing it now like almost 4 years. Get 1,000 or so people. Help me get a book. I've learned a lot by doing it, but I just wonder. I mean, you're on, so I'm happy for that. I just want to know if you're getting value or if this is like, am I teaching trigonometry to people that would rather, you know, be I don't know. I'm just kind of being self-reflective just for a moment to find out if it's making a difference in your thinking.
I have just only been listening to you for a short while now, and I have found your sessions to be very compelling and very relatable. And it couldn't have come at a better time because I'm looking for a house for my daughter right now, and I went through this very same scenario with her. And I was very much put on the spot when she asked me, well, what happens if the number you suggested I come in at is too high? And then it's just around the time when you started talking about this topic about not putting your fingerprints on the price. So, but I really like the way that you explain things and the way you help people walk through the space they're in when they're trying to get to the other side. And I'm enjoying your sessions very much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for that, Sandy. All right, any questions you have for me before I let you go? I mean, this is my hour, and so I don't have anything pressing. If you have something else you want to ask me, like, for example, Valerie, there is a conversation when someone says, I don't want to pay too high, too much. And really fast, going back to Polina's example. So let me just role play Valerie really fast. She's a buyer, right? Valerie? You're muted, I think, or you're frozen, one or the other. Valerie, I'm talking to you.
She's a buyer, and I went about.
It's not
I'm
working.
here.
Okay. Your daughter's trying to buy a house, right?
Can you hear me?
Your daughter's attempting to buy a house?
And the house that
No.
is very similar in layout, in the same neighborhood, sold for, went on for 425 and sold for 475 with no basement. The house she wanted to buy has a basement. So I went about it analytically, and I came up with 480 based on how much the neighborhood came up from last year. But so I did say a price.
Yeah, well, here's the issue.
You can
Doing
put the offer in, though.
Doing a CMA for a buyer is no different than doing a CMA for a seller. You cannot predict what it's going to sell for. So in your best case scenario, you could use a super computer or GPT chat. What should we paying for that? And you give that advice to your client and they follow it and don't get it. Who does the buyer blame? So you have to have hang on. You're actually not we don't have a good connection, Valerie. I'm hearing every other word. Let me just tell you this. So really fast, okay? So I'm going to go to you, Scott, just for a moment, okay? You had a good connection. Scott, the question is, I mean, it's, the last home it sold for 485. It's listed for 450. What's the most you're willing to invest to own it, Scott?
Well, it's 450. I think 450 is what I should be paying.
So if you find out that basically tomorrow somebody else bought it and paid more for that, then how would you feel?
I feel like I missed out.
But it hasn't happened yet. You control your own destiny. So you want my advice?
Yes, please.
In this market, hear me on this, you guys. This is a great line. In this market in New Jersey, the asking price is the starting line. What you see is not the price they're going to sell it at. It is the starting line. Do you have any problem whatsoever paying more, investing more than the initial asking price, Scott?
Well, yeah, I got some money in reserve.
That's not the question I asked. Listen, when you ask a question and they don't answer it, come back at them. If I ask my wife if she wants to get married, said, I don't mind playing golf today. Like, wait a minute, that's not what I asked you. Scott, do you have any problem of paying more than asking price?
No, just depends on how much.
I got it. Now in this market, in his market, if he said yes, what do? I said, all right, so we have a plan for that. What's the plan? If he's going to judge value based on asking price, you're going to have to start looking at homes that have been on the market 180 days. Because they're already asking more than they should. You're going to get it less than asking price. So let's just go and put a bow on it for Valerie's daughter. The last one was listed at 450. It sold for 480. What's the most you're willing to invest to own the home, Scott?
480.
All right. Is that your best?
I can go another 10.
Say it again.
I can go for another 10,000. 490 is what I can afford.
So my question is, all right, so let's say you go 480 and you find out it was sold for, somebody else bought it for 490. How do you feel?
I feel like I missed out.
So then what's your best?
Yeah, 490 is my best.
Are you sure?
It's all I can afford.
Okay, so if I come back to you tomorrow and say somebody else bought it, and we find out in 30 days that they paid $491, how do you feel?
I'm gonna feel like I'm chasing a rabbit. I'm getting frustrated with the market.
What does that mean? See,
I
he's
don't-
still told me how he feels yet, right? You guys don't stop until you get an answer. Because now you're driving your Uber car and I want to go to Boston, but where in Boston? How do you feel if you lost it, if they paid $491?
I feel I gotta give up. 490 is all I can do.
All right, now you have to get him. Valerie, you've got to get him to that point. Does CMA matter? No, don't do a CMA because you can't predict it. All right.
What
so-
happens, question,
Hang on. Here's how I'm gonna end it with Scott. Scott, listen, if that's your number, that's your number. If you can sleep, my brother, I can sleep.
Yeah.
So Valerie, last point. What do you want to say?
question, what happens if multiple offers come in, but it comes in under the highest price she was willing to pay?
All right, now let me finish the conversation. This is how you handle it. Everybody listen up. Don't hang up yet. You got to have the second part. So Scott, let's assume that you go in at 490 and you get the home. Congratulations, right?
Yeah.
However, and you close on it in 30 days. In 60 days, you're at the local grocery store and you are checking out, you're excited, you've got the house for 490, and 2 or 3 people in front of you, you recognize the seller. Seller doesn't see you, and you're overhearing this conversation. The seller is telling the checkout person, gosh, you know what? I was selling a house over there, only asked $450 for it. I had like 3 offers at 465, and this other guy came in from nowhere and offered 491. I love this country.
I'll be a little, well, if I'm happy with the house, I'll be, yeah, I beat all those other guys. I mean,
Bingo. Bingo. Most buyers won't care. They have the freaking house. But you walk them through that. You future pace them through that. So they don't come back and say, well, I made me overpay it. Well, that was your number.
yeah.
Does that make sense, Valerie?
Yeah. Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you guys for being on. Love you, mean it. Have a good weekend.
Fist bump.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denny.